And I want to turn to Mallory Carroll now, the vice president for communications at the anti-abortion group Susan B. Anthony list. The group is pouring $72 million, which is its largest political budget ever, into at least 9 swing states in the upcoming midterms to support candidates who oppose abortion rights. And I appreciate your time, Mallory. So thank you. So let's get to what you're doing here. $72 million in the midterms. That is the most money spent in your 30-year history as an organization. Abortion rights advocates, though, are going to spend more than that, apparently $150 million, and now they've got a very energized base as a result of this draft ruling. Are you worried you're going to be outmatched?
Thank you, Erin, so much for having me on. I really do appreciate the opportunity. There's no doubt that this draft decision is going to energize both sides, but I think for the pro-life movement, if the final official decision resembles this draft, that it's going to be proof of concept for the pro-life movement and for our political policy and cultural engagement these last 50 years, working to get to this point where we have the court take their thumb, hopefully, off the scale and allow states to pass laws that reflect the values of the people in those states. So certainly, I think it's going to energize people on both sides of this issue. But historically, the intensity gap has favored pro-life candidates. If you look at the breakdown where for people for whom abortion is their number one issue, there are more people on the pro-life side than the pro-choice. And those states that you showed, we've been going door to door in these battlegrounds, and we're talking not just to pro-life Americans who don't always go out to vote in midterm elections, but also to people we've identified as persuadable, women in the suburbs, Hispanic voters, people who are thinking of voting for a Democratic candidate based on their support for something else, whether it's immigration or healthcare. There's obviously a lot of issues that Americans care about, but the problem is that the contrast between the two sides on this issue, abortion on demand up until the moment of birth, paid for by taxpayers, performed by non-doctors. I mean, that's some of the stuff in the Women's Health Protection Act that the Senate is pushing right now, juxtaposed with reasonable pro-life protections, like at 15 weeks, like you said, like Western Europe. 47 out of 50 Western European nations limit abortion at 15 weeks.
I understand, and I did raise that point. But to the point that the Congresswoman was making, and obviously we're having this conversation as two American citizens, also as two women. She was at 17 weeks, right? That was life or death, right? These deadlines do seem arbitrary. And when you start looking at these situations, and for the vast majority of people, right, an abortion is something they never wanted to have. They never wanted to be in that position, right? It's a tragic and profound loss. Do you see her point?
As a pregnant woman myself, at 14 weeks, I was so moved by the Congresswoman's remarks, and I noticed that she acknowledged the fact that she lost a child. And I think that that's really important, that we have to acknowledge that we know more now than we ever have before about the development of the child in the womb, the fact that there are two people in every abortion decision. And so there being a room for justice and mercy to acknowledge the life of the second person in every abortion decision, and to start to move the United States back in line with modern science and medicine and the rest of the world, to really humanize and modernize our laws. That will be the hopeful outcome of overturning Roe versus Wade, is that we can start to move to more of a middle ground. There are obviously people who don't support abortion without limits, and people who want to have abortion at some point. There's room for nuance here, and what we want to have is a really robust debate at the state level and in Congress about where there is consensus. And most Americans do agree, according to recent polling, with Mississippi's 15-week marker. I mean, this is a point by which the unborn child can feel pain. And we're hopeful that, what we've seen thus far from the states is that they're always including exceptions for these very dramatic cases where the life of the mother is at risk.
So in the beginning of the program, I don't know if you heard, I did play from the confirmation hearings of Neil Gorsuch and Brett Kavanaugh. They both spoke about Roe. They spoke about it as a precedent. They spoke about it as law of the land. They spoke about it as something that was the way things are and that they had no intention to changing. Very clear that they wouldn't vote to overturn it from what we heard. But obviously it appears here in this draft that they will do just that. Now, putting aside, obviously, your beliefs and what you've committed your career to doing, do you think they lied under oath or misled?
I don't think they lied. I think that they can't speak to the decisions that they're going to face as Supreme Court justices. There are dozens. The Supreme Court chose the Dobbs case, but there are dozens of pieces of abortion litigation that are in the lower courts right now that could have addressed the same question. And so that's what's before the court. They decided to take it up, and they have to examine everything that's in front of them. I mean, think about some of the most powerful decisions that we rely on today were overturning of precedents. Think of the Lawrence case, the Loving versus Virginia, Obergefell, even Plessy versus Ferguson. I mean, these are there is precedent for the court overruling past precedent.
Yeah. Well, that is an interesting point. I mean, it certainly seems to me they at least misled, but you are, of course, it is true, right? You can't. There are going to be times you overturn precedent, and that is what happens. All right. Thank you very much, Mallory. I appreciate your time.
Thanks, Aaron.